My name is Mr. Filer from Case High School, and today I present to you Professor Alvaro Garcia from UW Parkside, and he's going to talk to us today about auditioning and practicing tips.
Yes, hi, and thank you very much for the opportunity of talking to all of you today. And I hope, we are just trying, it's very hard to in just 20 minutes tell you all the tricks and tips of everything there is to do to prepare a very good audition and how to practice for it. But I thought that was gonna be more concise if we show you a little video. It's about 7 minutes, I believe, that is going to be played, and it tells you pretty much the sequence of about 10 tips that we strongly recommend for you when preparing for a college audition, for example. And I guess some of you have the video, right?
I'm not the host of the actual call, so I do not have access. I believe our tech integrator does, though.
Okay.
But it might be wise, Professor, if it's all right, if you'd be able to present it. I apologize, just for time's sake.
All right, so should I keep going then?
Yes, I'll send a couple messages to make sure that we're good to go here.
Okay. So basically, in terms of practicing, maybe we can play you the video a little bit later, or later we'll be putting the website. But just to allow you and to make a good audition, one of the things that we consider is just constant practicing. Don't, everyday practicing, if that's half an hour or an hour or 2 hours, but constant everyday practicing is what it gets you what you need to go. One of the things is that, most importantly, especially for college auditions, is that you set your strategy correctly. So basically, some of you will have 1 or 2 or 3 or maybe 5 different college auditions. If it is up to me, I always recommend to go at least look at 3 to maybe 5 colleges if you are able to, or if you can audition for it, because that increases the chances for you to get scholarship money, and then you can really put all the letters of acceptance and a scholarship and offers on the table, and then decide what is your best place where to go. I think the important thing here is that because of that number, you set out a strategy for you to practice that will get you to those auditions at the time that you need to be at 100%. Sometimes when we talk about performances, we are talking about, the day of the performance, I want to peak at 100% of my practicing, of my performance playing, so I'm 100% ready to perform. You don't want to pick up too early, like a week early, I'm 100%, because then sometimes we get bored. Sometimes things start developing some bad habits because I'm already playing at 100% and I'm playing, so that could get you to some trouble if the audition is a week later. So that strategy about, planning all of your auditions is crucial. And please do own a calendar, and whether that means of paper or digital calendar, it doesn't matter, but just plan that strategy. So now, once we have that set, I know what pieces I have to play for each audition. I have my strategy. I have put my order of pieces. My priorities are in order. So how do I practice from day to day? The practicing has to be, as I said, has to be constant. Every day I will start, as Max Filer, Mr. Filer said before, scales are important, and every day you'll start with your scales. The scales, treat them as your stairs to success, right? That's how you scale up to be a great performer, through scales, through being able to just not playing them or running them through. Each day you can plan a different thing. Oh, today I'm going to plan in study my skills with my left hand, or mechanicity, right? For example, or articulation with my left hand. What about next day? I'm going to focus more on shifting. Next day, I'm going to focus in, other things. Then I go to my etudes because that's my grammar technique, right? In a sense, that's what technique will teach me through those etudes to get to those pieces and do the great job. And of course, that's a sequential. Again, we are stepping up, right? But most importantly, with the scales, with the etudes, and ultimately your pieces, the one thing that I almost always end up begging all my students is practice slow. You have to practice slow. No matter how you plan it, if you start performing fast the first day, forget it. You are never going to get there. You have to build it slow to get to that 100%. I always, tend to tell my students, like, look, to bring it up to tempo, it literally takes you 1-2 weeks, right? You need 4 months of slow practicing. Because why? Why is that slow practicing so important? Because you have to develop that automaticity in your muscles. It takes time. Leave your body time to build that muscle memory, to create those passages, to be accurate as much as you can be. And for that, slow practicing, there is no substitute for that. That slow practice. The other thing that I will say is that once you have planned that, is that you are going to get to where you need to be. But those priorities, especially if you have several auditions, in auditions, they may ask you for different pieces. So you may have different pieces for different auditions. So that strategy has to be well planned. That calendar, take notes of what you practice that day. And again, you don't have to be exhaustive notes. You just have to put, I practiced Mendelssohn today. I practiced Schumann today. So it reminds you, like, I don't remember what I practiced last week. So, or you keep a diary kind of what you did that day.
Mm-hmm.
Or if not, you have to set your own accountability as, look, I have done all this work. I have done my slow practicing. I had to have faith by that day of the performance. I am going to be prepared because I did all my due diligence.
Sure.
Practicing. So that's the important thing for building up for those. I'm not sure if we have that video or
Yes, I believe we're ready to go with it.
Okay, so let's go ahead. This is a video about now the tips for those auditions.
Welcome to the University of Wisconsin-Parkside Music Department. I'm Dr. Laura Rexroth.
And I am Professor Alvaro Garcia.
We're coming together to present you with tips to help you during the challenge of creating or presenting a successful music college audition. First, let's talk about preparing for the audition.
Check out any and all requirements on the University Music Department website. Schools might give you a specific list of repertoire to perform, or a choice of repertoire, such as choosing from 2 contrasting movements or choosing from categories of time periods.
When choosing repertoire for your audition, make sure you select pieces that show your performance strengths in the areas of interpretation and technique. Do select music that will show off both your technical abilities and your lyrical abilities, and make sure that you can demonstrate control, ease of mind, and show that you're having fun. A note for percussionists, a snare etude is a strong selection, and showing that you have skills on another instrument, particularly mallets or timpani, is definitely a plus.
Consult with your private teacher to get repertoire suggestions. If you are not studying with a private teacher, your ensemble director is a very good resource for this as well. Please note that your part from a band or orchestra piece is not a good choice and it should be avoided.
For instrumentalists, if you're given the choice, you should perform at least one piece with accompaniment and may choose another unaccompanied work. Please be aware of accompanist requirements for each school. If you're using an accompanist provided by the university, you'll need to send the paper-printed accompaniment several weeks ahead of your audition.
A second area of preparation and planning is recording your audition. Check to make sure if you are required to submit an audio or video recording of your audition, whether you have the latest and greatest equipment or you just have to make do with what is available to you. The following tips will help you in the creation of your audition recording.
Whether you're recording audio or video, try a few different test recordings, listen to them, and see which mic placement sounds best to your ears. Do this before you record the whole take.
Place the microphone only as close as necessary. Too close a placement can color the sound source's tone quality by picking up only part of the instrument's tone or extra sounds like the clicking of keys. But too far away means you will pick up more ambient sound, sounds in the room or outside the room.
Volume. Play the loudest part of the piece and set the gain or the audio input level so it doesn't go into the red or clip. If you use a computer, you can adjust the audio input level in System Preferences. But if you use a phone, make sure you use distance to control sound levels, as sometimes the software will not allow you to manage the level of the microphone.
For video recording, make sure that you frame yourself correctly. String players need to have the F-holes of the instrument facing the camera. Wind players should face the camera or be at a slight angle. Trumpet and trombone players should not point their bells directly at the microphone. Also, percussionists, make sure we can view the entire instrument and as much of yourself as possible. Definitely, your hand and your stick action should be in the frame. For all musicians, if you are playing with an accompanist, make sure the accompanist is also in the frame.
Remember about lighting. It's important that we can see you well so we can properly assess your technique. Always try to use a natural light source, such as a window. Depending on the room, you may have to use an additional light or lights facing you. You don't need to buy anything special, just a lamp from the garage or a desk lamp will work. Be careful not to have a bright light source behind you.
We want you to be successful with your audition. Because you are submitting a recording, you have the ability to record your pieces more than once and select the best performance. The faculty that review your audition submission want you to show us your best work. And this brings us to our last tip.
Have fun. Enjoy your performance. Communicate that music and performing is your passion and that you want music to be a part of you. Thank you all for watching. We invite you to audition for us at the University of Wisconsin-Parkside. We look forward to having you as part of our music program.
Yeah, there you have it. The 10 tips that we can summarize in about 7 minutes. It's about, presenting yourself correctly, especially in the time of the pandemic now that most of students are sending tapes. And so many people realize that, oh my God, how am I have to do that now, right? And not having the mediums or so, but most everyone has a cell phone, and people are actually recording themselves with a cell phone, which is perfectly fine. And it's just to have those little tricks to make you look good, even though it was recorded with a cell phone. So the one thing I will have to say, is the video could suffer as long as the audio is good. But if you have a great video and a bad audio, it's just gonna be a bad take for an audition. Always make sure your sound is good. Whatever you do, that's the most important thing. That's what they want to see. If the light is not great or you couldn't get everything on the frame, don't worry so much about it. It's just about the sound.
Sure. And I would say it's surprisingly how good a modern phone microphone is. Like they're pretty decent quality for sure.
Yeah, they are really good. I mean, you have to consider that those microphones are omnidirectional, which means they will pick up the sound from anywhere in a circle around that microphone. So if you have a dog barking in the background, the microphone is gonna get it. It's gonna take it, that sound. So always just make sure there is no other noises in the house or just if your family is loud, at least sit your family in front of you and play for them the audition tape and ask them to be quiet in that moment that you are recording, right? Especially for someone like me that has two little kids, right? It's like, stay there, don't move while I'm playing this, and then you can run. So that's the most important thing. But as Professor Rexroth said in the last tip, have fun. Don't look stressed. Look like you enjoy what you are doing, because ultimately, when you are doing this for college, it means that you want to do this for a living, and you have to demonstrate that. You have to show that this is what you want to do for a living, right? It's one of the most important things.
Yeah, absolutely. Make sure it looks like you're enjoying what you want to do. If there are any questions for the people in the audience, please feel free to put them in the chat box. We will get to them. Professor, I have a couple questions for you just from the video, if that's all right.
Sure.
When you say that colleges have their own lists of suggested repertoire, is there a standard to that? Or are there a lot of consistent pieces that pop up, or is it kind of dependent on the schools?
It depends from school to school. So you always have to check the website of the music department where you're applying to. You should have a list of suggested repertoire or a specific repertoire. I mean, for example, a school like ours, we said, well, two contrasting movements, of whatever. It could be two contrasting composers, styles, era, tempi. For that matter. So it's to make it simple for the student to be able to choose. For other schools, especially if you are talking about high Ivy Leagues, they are going to be very extremely specific as to saying, oh, we want you to play Kreutzer Etude number 24. Right? Or I want you to play the scale of D major with arpeggios and harmonic and melodic minors, and then we would like to see the first movement of the Hofmeister Concerto in D for viola, for example, if those were viola auditions. And of course, we would like to see also one of the cello Bach suites and accompany, one movement of suite number 2. So that's extremely specific as what they want to see. And there is a reason why they want to see that. So you have to have a very good knowledge of those pieces, so you really can show them what you are capable of. As I said, it doesn't take much for a college professor to judge an audition. When we ask for several different things, is to offer variety, to see students in different contexts of style or virtuosity. It's not good enough for us that you can play really fast all the notes, but we would like to see something slow and lyrical, so we can see what is your musicality capable of, you as a musical person, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Another follow-up question, I guess. This is before the video even, Professor. You were saying that we have to self-regulate a little bit and schedule time, and maybe even keep a journal that helps us get to the point and kind of keeping a date in mind of when to be ready. Mm-hmm. Would you suggest that the date that you can do it 100% for the first time would be the performance date, or would you suggest maybe having it ready a week before or 2 weeks before? And
you have about 5 days in and out. So what I'm trying to say is that basically 2-3 weeks before the date, don't practice every day by playing up to tempo. There is no reason. As I said before, slow practicing is the mother of all skills. You just need to practice up to tempo to start getting it there, right, in its placement, like about 5 days, before the audition, right? And you have to, and I understand it's really hard to resist the anxiety inside, especially when you are really young. You have most anxiety. If you are like an old person like me already, your life goes a little slower than what it used to. So it's a little bit about holding your horses a little bit before the races start, and you try to bring it up to tempo and really push, because practicing a lot of times really fast, it will make you start developing bad habits, and that's the true problem of practicing up to tempo all the time.
Okay. Well, I will try to remember that when I turn 35 like you, Professor. I'll make sure.
Yeah, 35. I wish.